All right, welcome everybody to the Real Talk Podcast Gaming Quickie, Final Fantasy XIV Beta Edition. We're just going to be pretty much talking about the upcoming beta here on Monday. And, a few topics. Pretty much we're going to touch on community complaints, what we're expecting, so on and so forth. With me today I have Al and Justin. What's going on, guys?
Not much.
What's going on?
Just biding time till Monday.
Pretty much, man. I think we're all pretty excited. Finally, we get to play, 14 again, which we loved 1.0, and now we're definitely looking forward to 2.0, aka A Realm Reborn. Right off the bat, what are your expectations, Al? Anything? You played Alpha.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I'm really excited to see what they changed from Alpha to Beta. Combat wise, they're adding fall damage. And from the live letter that they posted the other night, Yoshi P specifically shows that, hey, you can jump off this fucking ledge in the middle of nowhere and take damage. They're getting rid of all of these invisible walls that probably would have been in 11 or 14, 1.0, or most of the Final Fantasy RPGs where you wouldn't be able to jump off, because why would you need to jump off there? And my answer is because I can, and that's why take and we'll this will be a good segue. Why take away my choice of doing something for the sake of taking away the choice of doing something?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I feel like this community in general. I've played 11. From back to when it first came out to like about 09, I've played WoW. I loved WoW. So I don't see what the hate is with WoW with the Final Fantasy community. It's like they're so scared of progress, it seems. You're reading through the beta forums and everything, and people complaining about the silliest things, like vanity pets for one. Like, who cares? Personally, I'm not a fan of pets. Like, I don't really like them or whatever, but I don't want to take a person's choice or chance to have them away just because I don't like them. I don't want to, it's not, because it's not a big deal. And people seem to love to make immersion. How does it break your immersion? Please tell me.
No, I don't know.
I know. I'm just saying, it's ridiculous.
So the Dragoon running around with the Wyvern? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah,
or Beastmaster running
that's how I look at it as it too. Courier Carry running around.
But I can kind of agree with Alan, the fact that if you're gonna have a pet out, it better serve some kind of purpose, whether it's a vanity pet in the sense that there's some
between an actual hunter's or beastmaster or dragoon's pet as opposed to a vanity pet that you just have there, to
it's
to
like
just have
wearing a
around.
handkerchief. It's just an accessory. It's whatever. That's how I said it might be a good idea. If people are going to complain about them, maybe they can give them some sort of function. But personally, in other games where they have vanity pets, I collect them. I think they're cool. I think they're nice accents to my character, and I only collect the ones that I think will look cool at my side. And I don't. It's.
And what, bro?
I don't need the WoW cockroach at my side.
You have the right to do that, because you like it, and that's great. What's wrong with choices in MMOs? Why are we limiting it? Why does the Final Fantasy community, I feel like, have to, not all of them, obviously, because I feel like it's a very vocal minority, but I feel like, why do they feel like it's such a hindrance on their gaming experience? It's not. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. That's it. It's all about choice and choices. I don't see what the big complaint is.
One of the argument was, I'm going to see, 500 people with the same pet running around, and that's not realistic.
Oh, whatever.
Well, last I remembered, having a fucking dragon swoop down out of the fucking clouds is not realistic either, but we still buy into that.
And
hate on my wyverns.
And all the fucking cats in the world, you're telling me, cats, they all fucking look alike. Dogs too, they have different breeds and shit, but for the most part, if you get a fucking beagle, he's gonna look pretty close to, another fucking beagle, do you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
Who gives a shit, dude? Personally, sorry.
I don't know, and that's like the jumping thing. People have a problem with it. I don't understand.
That I don't understand either. Jumping's been a mechanic in MMOs since even before Final Fantasy XI, which honestly, I felt like it could have used it, but at the same time, like, it didn't completely ruin it. However, with a game that's trying to be more casual, the fact that you have to reroute yourself over a little pebble to get down a freaking hill is ridiculous.
That used to piss me off.
It's ridiculous.
Getting stuck on a friggin' ledge that's 2 feet.
Personally, I love
not
what Yoshi
even
P...
up to your fucking knee.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I love what Yoshi P is doing. I really do, and I think it's gonna. There's potential for this game to be great, and I don't see why the bitch fest on the forums or whatever happens, because technically this game, I mean, the way it flopped in 1.0, pre-Yoshi P, I mean, this game shouldn't even really be around anymore, or it should be, free to play for whatever. So I'm really psyched for it. I'm really freaking psyched. It has tremendous potential, and I just want people to fucking lighten up, enjoy it for what it is, so on and so forth. This community sometimes, I don't get this community.
It's a fucking video game at the end of the day. I mean, no need to flame.
No, totally. But like at the same time, though, like
if you don't like it.
No, but Peep, though, like all this complaining, like, is it really gonna ruin your gaming experience to have jump? I don't want to see people jumping all over the place. Like, shut the fuck up. If you actually played an MMO with jump, it's not as rampant as you really think it is. In the video that you see them doing, jumping all over the place, it's pretty much, I think, to show the mechanic more than anything. If you played Alpha, I didn't see millions of people jumping all over the place. You jump when it's necessary,
Well, I jumped everywhere. I know. That's just a thing that I do. Like,
yeah, in MMOs, but I don't
like
jump
when
all
I
over
go
the place,
from point A to point B.
You're mashing spacebar to jump, yeah.
Exactly, because it's
something to do.
Exactly. There's nothing else to do unless you're gonna stop and kill some shit. Like, there's nothing else to do other than fucking tap your spacebar to jump.
Sure.
Yep.
And it doesn't bother me.
And then, so because I knew how many people hated jump function, I did it even more in Alpha. Like, I would do instances, and I was the tank because I would run around as a Dragoon, and I would literally be jumping to throw my spear, just because I thought, one, it looked cool, but two, because I knew people, like, and I would jump, on the way to each mob pack, and, before, like, I was constantly jumping. And people were like, why are you always jumping? Stop jumping. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, really? Is it really bothering you? Let me jump some more. Like, go fuck yourself.
Question for you guys. There's been a lot of backlash here, it seems, for the graphics. I think the graphics look great, personally. I'm glad the engine's finally optimized. My PC is going to run it just fine. I don't see any issues with these graphics, but apparently some people do. I feel like people sometimes just feel like are complaining for the sake of complaining. Is that just me?
Nope.
No, definitely. I think they're some of the best looking graphics for an MMO available.
No question.
I'm completely floored. The amount of detail, how much life there is everywhere you turn. I was completely floored when I logged into Alpha, and watching the videos and looking at the benchmark and seeing all of the cities, watching the live letter and looking at what Ul'dah is going to look like. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it's
absolutely looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the way they redid Ul'dah, I mean, the areas in general, it just looks like a lively place. It gave me this feeling again, like, man, the same feeling I had when I played 11. I'm like, man, I could see myself playing this for a long time, and immersing myself in this world.
Absolutely.
I am super excited for it. I really hope people actually do give it a chance. Listen, 1.0 when it came out sucked. I'll admit that. But then when the Yoshi P team took over, the game was extremely playable. I mean, I came to my fourth go around back in like April of 2012, and I never looked back. I mean, we pretty much downed, a lot of fucking content, like Garuda, all that shit, and I had a great time, and I can't wait to see what beta brings. I mean, I know it'll be phased out into different sections and all that, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, anybody else want to add anything or whatever?
Justin, you've been kind of quiet.
Yeah, dude. What are you looking forward? What are your expectations? What are your complaints? I mean,
I have no complaints, man. It's Final Fantasy. I will never complain about a Final Fantasy except
I mean,
10,
they're not
2,
immune to
and
criticism,
12.
But
I didn't play Alpha, so I'm just looking forward to seeing what you guys are talking about. But I mean, I've seen plenty of video footage.
I mean, they've definitely brought it up to par with the modern MMO, and I think that's huge if you want to compete in the modern MMO market. So,
yeah, I mean, I've
whether
watched the
people
videos.
like it or not, I mean, that's just the way MMOs are and have been. I mean, you have your hot bars, you have your jump, and all that. What's wrong with that?
I'm tired of hearing the WoW comparison to every game, every new game. Everything's WoW. You know what? If that's
not a bad
because
thing.
Because they were the first to do it doesn't mean everything's a WoW clone. It just works. I
don't see any complaints with a game being modeled after one of the most successful MMOs of all time. I mean, granted, it's not a WoW clone, obviously, but
No.
But people seem to think that because they take a mechanic from here and there, or whatever. Oh, WoW clone, it's going to be bad. And I feel like the Final Fantasy community in general is a little bit butthurt about how WoW took over 11 at the time.
Yep.
And it ruined their game or whatever. But they just need to get over it.
11 competed until they announced 14. That's kind of when
that's
I said.
Not true.
That's
90%
not true,
of
bro.
the fucking population left Final Fantasy 11 when World of Warcraft came out.
Up until like 09 when I played, I think it only had like 500k subs, which honestly isn't bad. I mean, 500k subs, you can still have a really, really successful MMO, and I think this game should garner at least that, maybe a little bit less. I don't know, which is still in my book considered successful. If you can have 250k subs.
Sure. The only problem I see it having is even now, after their little media tour that they just did last week, you have some people praising it, but you also have other people that are like, I don't understand these mechanics, and a lot of them are the problems that people are bringing up are of two things that I've read several times that have been repeated by separate reviewers. One is the UI. They're not 100% impressed with it. They don't understand why you have to click and drag items to finish a quest. They don't understand why you can't just right-click it or, just hit, talk to the NPC and they automatically take it out of your inventory. Why do you have to add 3 more steps to complete a quest?
Mm-hmm.
And to a point, I understand, but
sure.
the argument for that was Yoshi P said, well, people playing PS3, never playing an MMO before, don't want to have items magically disappearing out of their inventory. But then again, that goes with people who, that goes with saying, well, you should be reading the quest dialogue anyway. But then that's on them to make the quest dialogue and stories compelling.
Sure.
The other thing that I've been reading about is the fate system. People are complaining that it's too much like Guild Wars. Well, Guild Wars got it from Warhammer. And even Rift has their own little version of it.
Can you brush on that a little bit? I can't say I'm familiar with that. This is the first I'm hearing of the fate system.
Me neither.
It's the full active time event. It's random shit that gets generated
never mind.
In the world.
So, like Guild Wars 2, and then everyone's got to kill it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so people on the zone, you get, it'll be highlighted on the map, and it and you can say you go here. Once you pass the boundaries of the highlight of the map, you're automatically accepted for the quest, and you go do whatever it with the people in the zone to go do the content.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that cool in Guild Wars 2 personally, but I mean, I only played Guild Wars 2 for a few weeks.
What they're complaining about is that this is H&M's. This is they're not so far from. It was asked during the live letter, about the NMs, and he said this is primarily going to be your NM battles. So the fact that you're not going to be able to, what it alluded to a lot of people is that you're not going to be able to go do NM hunts or camp or farm NMs because they're going to be restricted solely to the fate system.
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, why are you taking that out? And I kind of agree. Why take out something? Why not have both? I don't understand.
Sure, have both.
But that's something you can bring up during beta or alpha because we weren't able to test it. And we're going to be able to test Fate in beta phase 1, which is awesome. We're going to be able to test, a bunch of new mechanics, and the combat system is completely rewritten again. And if you look at the layout, they're rewriting combat algorithms during each phase, before each phase. So, as it progresses, it's nice to see all of that to be implemented.
I kind of like that M hunting, at least back in 11, and somewhat in 14. I think 14 made it more tolerable with, like the 5-minute respawns or whatever, so you didn't have to camp out and wake up at 4 in the morning for whatever reason. I like, I don't know, something about camping Leaping Lizzie, for Leaping Boots or whatever it was, or Valkyrie Emperor. I thought there was something cool about that, but I didn't like, the really long-ass respawn times and all that.
But I can kind of appreciate taking down the time of death and competing with the other people that are there, but I'm not talking like 24-hour respawns, 21-hour respawns.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. Maybe
no
2
more
hours.
Time sinks. Let's just let's go in there, let's play, let's have a good time, and let's get shit done. Let's just get shit done. That's in a timely fashion.
Real talk's coming to Final Fantasy.
I'm all for time sinks, 100%. I really am.
Not 72-hour respawn times where you got to set your fucking alarm at 2 in the fucking morning, and that's ridiculous.
Blame you 72 hours. That's kind of on you whether or not you want to set your clock, your alarm clock for 2 o'clock in the morning. However, if there's going to be a time sink, by the time I get from point A and eventually point B, there better be some reward.
Sure.
And this is how I look at it, because people will talk, time sink of, learning the content. With Garuda, or, CC or AV, right? You could completely learn how to do those instances, or Ifrit or Moogle, whatever. You can completely learn how to do those instances, and when you get to the end, you finally beat it, you get absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I'd like to see a reward system that rewards effort, pretty much. Kind of like what Garuda did. You beat Garuda, at least you got 2 tokens, to work towards a weapon or something like that. I like the idea of a token system. I liked it in the Old Republic for PvP and stuff like that. You got your PvP gear after, getting so many wins and so many kills, so on and so forth. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it would be really good for the community as far as gearing yourself up and everything. You do the content enough, even though it's repetitive, you're still working towards something as opposed to doing it a million times and getting nothing. So...
Absolutely. And I'm not saying give away the gear. I'm not saying make it easy. But I'm saying if I'm going to put the time and the effort, I better get something out of it.
Yep.
And that's the problem that I'm having with Ion. I mean, I don't know how many times I've done the end game, instances, and I've literally gone an entire instance without seeing a single drop, which is unheard of. I mean, that's stupid. I mean, even in Final Fantasy XIV, you could literally do Moogle and nobody gets anything but dark matter. You could do Garuda and nobody gets anything but a fucking totem.
But at least you got the fucking totem, though.
But at least you got the totem.
The totem was guaranteed.
But see, that's a fucked up mentality that they built. Oh, at least you're getting a fucking totem. Bullshit. I better get something more. And I'm not saying the whole party should get a weapon, but at least fucking weapon should drop.
No, no.
I disagree.
Dude, I can agree with that, but at the same time, at least the totem is guaranteed. It gives you something to work towards. I don't know. We have different views on that.
That's a bullshit mentality that they created because
you never got that Kupo nut in Moogle?
No,
I never got a fucking Kupo nut, son. I never got one fucking Kupo nut.
Who got the Moogle axe right here?
Listen.
First try. All right, we're listening. Go ahead.
It's a bullshit mentality that they forced on you because they fucking. It's like a kid you constantly fucking beat every day for a week, and then the 8th day comes and you don't beat him. He's like, oh, at least my day was great. I didn't get beat. Like that's exactly what it is. Like
I feel you. I mean, we're gonna have to make a bunch of these fucking beta and Final Fantasy XIV quickies because this is like turning into like a fucking full episode.
There's so much that there's angst over these fucking games that like it infuriates me that the RNG Japanese communities feel like you shouldn't be rewarded for your effort. Like
you need some air, bro. You need some air.
No, bro. Listen, I get it, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I totally do. But at the same time, though, I do feel like maybe it's just me, but I feel like you are being rewarded when you're guaranteed at least 2 totems for completing Garuda.
But you have to hand in 40 of them.
I know. The requirement is ridiculous, but you're getting something.
I agree with that. The requirement is pretty ridiculous.
But you're still getting something.
Kill the shit 20 times, and then maybe you can get a weapon.
Well,
maybe you
like
get a
how
weapon
we were
the
doing
20th
it.
time.
We 3 wins got you a weapon. You know what I'm trying to say?
Unless you got a white mage weapon.
Unless you got a white mage weapon and you got screwed out of that, which I thought was unfair. But anyways,
we won't go into that.
We'll go into that later or whatever. I'm gonna wrap this real quick though, and thanks for anybody who's listening to this. We're gonna be doing a few more throughout the beta phases. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please submit them. We also have full episodes on YouTube. You got to check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/realtalkpcast. You can like our page. You can check out links to our other stuff. And, we hope you enjoy this. Please offer any sort of feedback, negative, positive. We don't really give a shit. We're big boys. We can take it. Thanks for listening. This has been the Real Talk Podcast, Final Fantasy XIV Beta Quickie. We hope to see you again. Peace.